Hello and welcome to a truly special edition of the Shaq podcast. Today isn't just another episode, it's a milestone, a celebration, and a moment that defines our journey. 1 year ago, this podcast was just a vision, a space to bring together powerful voices and ideas that move people forward. And today, as we mark the first anniversary of the Shag podcast, I couldn't have imagined a more perfect guest to join us for this grand occasion. Because when we talk about mastery on LinkedIn, when we talk about purpose driven business growth, when we talk about authentic influence built on integrity and value, there's one name that stands tall above the rest: Derick Mildred. Derick is not just a LinkedIn coach, he's a movement. The founder of Results Formula, a globally respected business growth platform. Derek has helped countless coaches, consultants, and entrepreneurs transform their presence on a LinkedIn into a powerhouse of opportunity. He has been recognized among the top 50 global key influencers by EY's magazine in 2020 and among the top 50 most impactful people on LinkedIn in 2021 with over 320 glowing recommendations and a reputation that speaks volumes. Derek has redefined what it means to grow with purpose in the digital world. And honestly, friends, there could be no better guest to grace the Shack podcast on its first anniversary than Derek Mildred himself. Derek, from the entire team, Shack Podcast, and all our viewers around the world, welcome to the show. It's a true honor to have you with us today. How are you today, and what's up? What's going on?
Well, hello, Shaq, and hello, everybody, and thank you kindly for that warm introduction. I truly do appreciate it. As a matter of fact, I think I should probably get you to MC all of my events that I have, because I can't beat an introduction like that. I mean, seriously, that's fantastic. I do appreciate that. So it's a pleasure to be here, and thank you kindly.
The pleasure is all mine. Thank you so much, Derek, for being on my show. To all my audience who are watching me live, people who are watching cross platforms, Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube, guys, just let us know if you can hear us all right, if you are audible, and also just let us know from where you are listening us from. And if you've got any questions, if you've got any doubts, just put them across to us in the comments, and Derek would be happy to answer them all.
Sure.
Before we dive in, I want to take a quick moment to speak from the heart. Many of you, many of you know me as Shaq, but what you may not know is why I do this. This podcast was built on honesty, dedication, and love for people. I've spent countless nights researching, curating, and reaching out to voices that I truly believe can make a difference, because I don't just want to create episodes, I want to create impact. And today's conversation with Derek is exactly that, a conversation that's going to educate, empower, and elevate everyone watching. So, to all our viewers, thank you for your support, your messages, and your belief in this journey. Say today's episode is specially dedicated to my viewers who are watching from around the world, and for every dreamer who believes that one voice can truly make a difference. This episode is for you. So, Derek, I'm so excited to have this conversation with you. Let's dive right into it because I know our audience is eager to learn from the experience, from your experience and wisdom. So, what I want to ask the first of all is how's the weather outside and how, you know, what's going on at your place
How's the
in
weather?
Melbourne?
Okay. How's the weather
Yeah.
in Melbourne? Well, Melbourne has a bit of a reputation for weather. We can have 4 seasons in one day. Okay, so
So
right now it's a little bit overcast. This morning it was sunny, and first thing this morning I was watering plants in both the front and the backyard. So it's a wonderful day. It's a beautiful city to live in, and I hope people in your audience have the opportunity to visit at some stage.
sure, sure. Also, it's on my list of things doing before, I mean, say next year or the year after. Australia is on my list. And to be very honest, I would be seeing the kangaroos for sure. Anyhow, let's quickly dive into the session. Derek, you have helped thousands transform LinkedIn into a business generating platform. So we will start with your journey. How did this incredible journey begin for you from 2004?
2004 was back when I first officially or originally signed up to the platform. However, I did very little with it until 2013 when I was building websites at the time and doing SEO and guaranteeing to get people onto page one on Google, which I delivered on for all of my clients. I was sharing an office with a friend of mine, and she walked into the office one day and she said she had just heard LinkedIn described as the professional or the business version of Facebook. And I thought, that sounds interesting. Maybe I should have another look at that. And so I rummaged around, found my old original login details, and logged into my LinkedIn account to discover that I had 207 connections. So it was 2013 when my real journey on LinkedIn began. And what I did was I started using LinkedIn or focusing on LinkedIn as a community instead of just another platform. Okay. And at that time, I didn't even have a Facebook account. So when it came to social media, I knew nothing. And I looked around for a couple of people that I could see knew what they were doing well with the platform. And one of them was writing a lot of articles. So I thought, okay, I'll write some articles. And I started writing articles on what a good website should include. And I learned a valuable lesson because these articles started to generate leads for me. I started to get inquiries. I'd get an email or I'd even get a phone call. This is before the days of StreamYard or Zoom or anything like that. And so I'd get a inquiry, and people would say to me, "We want to talk to you about getting you to build a website." And so I'd get on a phone call with them and I'd say to them, "Do you mind if I ask you where you heard about me from?" And they'd all say LinkedIn. Now, what the valuable lesson was approximately 50% of those leads that came in, those people had not liked, had not commented on any of my articles. They had just sat in the background and just watching, reading, and learning. But each time I published a new article, which was every week, what I was literally doing was I was building up my reputation in their minds. I was building up my credibility in their minds. And those articles actually did the selling for me because they had already made up their mind that they were going to get me to build their website for them, provided the price was right. And that's literally all it came down to. So what would I do? I'd ask them, what sort of budget do you have? And the answer to that question would also give me an idea of whether or not I could work with them, because I wasn't going to build a cheap website for them. I was more focused on building a good quality website for them. So it was a valuable lesson. And then since then, I've gone on to build my connections, build my following, wound up in LinkedIn jail with restrictions several times because I send out too many requests to connect, and went too crazy on that. And the thing with LinkedIn is back then there was no instruction book. Okay, there weren't much in the way of courses or coaching or people you could learn from. So you had to figure a lot of it out by yourself and literally through trial and error, which is how I wound up with the account restrictions, etc. And I even wound up with account restrictions that were supposedly going to be permanent, but I got those removed. And I've gone on. Now I have 96,000 followers. I have 26,000 connections. I have 23,000 followers of one of my company pages. 30, I think it's 37,000 subscribers to my newsletter. It's just been an amazing platform, but it does take some work. But once you get used to it, it's truly an enjoyable platform to use.
Awesome. That's a very inspiring journey from 2004 to 2025. Almost 20 years, should I say? 20 or
I
more than 20
celebrated
years.
21 years. I celebrated 21 years just literally about 2 weeks ago.
I've seen that post. I apologize, I did not react to it, but I see all your posts.
Thank you.
I've got that on my list to react and comment, but sometimes, but I see all your posts. I've seen that post, but did not remember the exact number of years. So 21 years on this platform. So you
Yes.
are probably the first users of LinkedIn, to be very honest. I mean, say it has been a long journey. LinkedIn started out as a resume and a job search.
Originally, it started out to be an online platform that would support your resume. So basically, you could put everything onto your profile that you could not fit on your resume. Okay. Mm-hmm. It was also the first social media platform. LinkedIn had a news feed before Facebook was even thought about. Okay, so isn't that interesting? And so then it's just grown and grown. These days, it's the world's #1 B2B platform. It's not only for people in job search, it's also for people in business. And right now it has, I think it's 1.1 or 1.2 billion subscribers. It has 62 million corporations, companies, and businesses registered on the platform. And so it's an amazing business platform as well.
And also LinkedIn has intensified its effort to earn more money. So there is a more than normal push for the premium version of LinkedIn, which is a good thing. They're making good money. I think around they're making each year. I'm not sure about the correct number, but it's around $16 billion per year in revenue. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I can tell you because Ryan Roslansky just put out some figures today. Hang on a minute. 24% growth this is Microsoft's Q1 earnings day. 18.2 billion in the preceding or in the last 12 months of revenue. So 18.2 billion in revenue over the last 12 months. #1 place for recruiters and hiring managers to work together from screening to scheduling with new hiring assistant integration with Microsoft Teams. 3 straight quarters of double-digit growth in video uploads. So that's a little bit of insider information about the most popular content or the fastest growing content type on the platform right now is video uploads. Okay, and still only about 1 to 1.5% of users on LinkedIn are posting content.
Do you think LinkedIn is moving towards the TikTokification or the Instagramification of a platform now? They're moving so fast for the videos. I mean, say these live events is very professional, but they are looking for a frame portrait mode, 30 to 90-second video. I mean, say LinkedIn is pushing for that content more. So do you think that it's going to turn into another Instagram or a TikTok platform very soon?
No. And here's why. They've done in the past, LinkedIn has copied or modeled, mirrored some of the features of some of the other platforms. Okay, so for a couple of years ago, there was a audio only platform. I forget what it was called. And it was doing quite well via one of the other platforms. And LinkedIn thought they'd put their own version of that together. I personally didn't warm to it. I thought, well, why do I want to go to an audio platform when I can use an audio video one here? Okay. And so that audio platform, it was around for about 6 or 8 months, and then it kind of died off. And from that, they learned a valuable lesson, and that is to be themselves. Okay. LinkedIn is a very supportive community, and it's exactly that. It's a community. One of the things that I learned when I really started to take off on the platform was to treat it as a community instead of a social media platform, and to build relationships, professional relationships, to build conversations with people. And that's not something that you do or people do as well on the other platforms as they can do on LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is being itself. It's got some new features coming. You won't see too much in the way of hot dinners unless you're a chef. You won't see people dancing on the platform like they do on other platforms. And now I don't know if that's because people don't like people dancing on LinkedIn, or if most of the people on LinkedIn just plainly can't dance. It'd be one or the other. But put it this way, I'm not putting a dancing video on LinkedIn myself. So maybe that's one of the reasons. But it's a very professional platform, all jokes aside.
Yeah, I too agree with that. A very professional platform still in 2025 and beyond for searching jobs and for learning new skills. Also, the best platform so far for business.
Yes.
Moving on to the next question, Derick. Now, these questions were out of context. I apologize, but just for a lighter moment, I've asked these questions. But now, moving on to the real crux of the matter, the real questions based on the LinkedIn business, which I have for you, is question number one. What you have worked with so many entrepreneurs and professionals.
Mm-hmm.
What's the biggest mindset shift people need before they can truly succeed on LinkedIn?
Don't sell, just talk to people. Just talk to people. The best salespeople in the world don't sell. They just talk to people. Okay. And so what happens on LinkedIn is somebody will send out a sales pitch. You'll receive a sales pitch inside your inbox. And it's frowned upon because there's this unwritten rule on LinkedIn that you never sell on LinkedIn. So instead, what you literally do is you establish, build, and nurture professional conversations, professional relationships. And then when the time is right, you take that conversation away from LinkedIn. And it's during that conversation away from LinkedIn, you might talk or go more in depth into the products, the services, the solutions that you offer, the fees that you charge, etc. And as we all know, the best salespeople in the world, they just talk to people. They just have a casual conversation. They don't need to do the heavy pitch or hard sell. Okay. And so don't sell on LinkedIn, just talk to people is the lesson.
Well, straight to the point answer. Thank you so much for that insightful answer, Derick. I truly, truly liked that answer. We have to speak to people. Do not sell, just speak. So moving on to the next question, based on your expertise. You have been honored as one of the LinkedIn's top 50 global influencers. What principles or habits helped you earn and sustain that level of respect?
Geez, that's a good question. I guess treat people the way I would like to be treated. Try to add as much value. Try to, as I can, to add value and educate without selling is actually a strategy of mine. To try and build on those professional relationships and to build on those conversations and to support people.
Well,
yeah.
Another
It's
straight.
a network. To give you an example, it's a networking platform. Before I got on this call, I did a coaching call for an hour. And at the end of that hour, it took me 2 minutes to introduce the person that I was coaching to another person who I know can help them. 2 minutes. Okay. And so by doing that, I have helped two people, not one, but two. The person I'm doing the introducing to, and the person who is being introduced as well.
Exactly.
Hmm.
So, exactly. And this is how you build trust. This is how you build relationships on a
Yeah.
LinkedIn, to be very honest. So, moving on, I mean, see, that's a great answer, Derek. Moving on to the next question, which I have for you, is how you help people, succeed on LinkedIn, especially for business. The question is, how can coaches and consultants position themselves as trusted authorities without sounding too salesy? I mean, see, we've just spoken about this, but a brief answer on that as well.
That's really simple, although it's easier said than done. And the answer is to add value and educate without selling. Okay, so think about, instead of thinking about trying to sell to your audience, and look, let's face it, everybody wants to generate more sales. Everybody in business wants more sales. All right, that's what they're in business for, to build, grow their business. Um, so think about how can you do that in a way that works and in a way that is far more that people are far more receptive to. Okay. And so if you go out with the hard sell and you're trying to sell people before you're even having a conversation with them, it's a little bit like walking into a nightclub and walking up to the first attractive person you can find and say, hey, do you want to get married? Okay. You've got to do a little bit more work before you get to that stage. All right. So think about how can you add value first before you ask somebody to marry you.
Oh, well, that was a good one, to be very honest. I mean, see, all my viewers who are watching, so this is how you build your reputation on LinkedIn. If you are a business professional, get in touch with Derick ASAP, and he would be happy to help you for sure. So, moving on to the next question, Derek. Now, some advanced questions, but before that, I've got a simple question for you. You know, the digital world changes rapidly. How do you keep yourself ahead of the curve in LinkedIn trends and technology?
Just use it. Just use it. Whether it's, and I remember a couple of years ago, I reached out to a friend of mine who is the authority on AI on the platform. And I asked him back then, I said, this chat GPT thing, is it everything it's cracked up to be? And he said, mate, just get started with it. Just start using it. And so I did. And it turned out to be one of the best decisions that I ever made. And so in this world that we live in, this information age that we live in, where we've got access to so much information so quickly, so conveniently, so easily, literally at the tips of our fingertips via our keyboards, the key comes down to just use what is out there, but that doesn't mean use everything. Be selective with what you're comfortable with. You only need, to my mind, you only need one AI program or maybe two. Okay, I use ChatGPT, I use Sora, that's it. I know there's many more out there. 20 years ago or 15 years ago, there was more than just a handful of social media networks. Now look what we have. So just use a couple of the different platforms and just get comfortable with whatever it is that you're using.
Awesome. And the best way to connect with Derek is through a LinkedIn profile.
Yeah.
So get in touch with him.
And make sure you send me a message. I get several hundred requests to connect every week. And the ones who send me a message get looked at first.
Awesome.
All right.
Awesome.
All right.
So,
Just
Derek,
look me up on LinkedIn, Derick Mildred.
yeah. And people who are having any questions regarding their business or their approach, even if they're looking for jobs or anything of that sort, profile optimization and things like that, do ask it right now. This is a live session, so you can get answers in a real time. People who are watching me from Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube, where only I can see the messages on Facebook and YouTube, but LinkedIn, even Derek can see them. So use this opportunity and ask him as many questions as possible. So moving on to the next question, Derek. Again, say I'm going to go advanced today about LinkedIn business, Derek. And before that, I've got some simple questions just to, just to get the basic understanding how we promote our business services. Or a person who is a business professional, how he can promote himself in a real, way. So these questions are based on that. So a real simple question again: what are the biggest mistakes you see people make on LinkedIn, and how they can fix them as business professionals, also as job seekers?
Okay. So I primarily, my focus is on business, LinkedIn for business. So I can't really comment too much for job seekers, but for people in business, the number one mistake I see them make is trying to sell and pitch too early. That's the number one. The second mistake that I see, the solution to that is obvious. You don't sell on LinkedIn. It's as simple as that. Build the relationship first, build the conversation, take the conversation to the next level. Okay. The second mistake that I see people make is not posting enough content. I looked up the stats before, and it is less than 2%. It's about 1.5% of the audience on LinkedIn are posting content. Okay. That's extraordinary. And here's why. Imagine if you had your own PR agency and your own TV channel or TV studio combined. What would you do with it? Okay. You'd put out content every single day.
Exactly.
That's exactly what social media is. Okay. Social media is your own PR agency. It is your own TV studio or TV channel combined, giving you the opportunity to post content and put it out every day. And here's the beautiful part. You don't need a camera crew. You don't need mixers. You can create your own content very quickly, very easily, and you can post it, and you can start to position yourself as a respected authority within your industry. You can start to build your following. You can start connecting with people in your audience, potential leads for you and your business. So those are the two big mistakes. Selling on the platform, not posting enough content.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much for that brief answer, Derek. To be very honest with you, I totally agree with that point. If we've got our own studios, our own TV channel, what do we want the most, Derek? We want to be
Yeah,
seen, we want to be heard, and we want to be remembered. And in that process, we also want to sell our services or our products. So
yeah,
say you cannot sell a product when you are not being seen. Being seen builds trust. Exactly.
exactly.
Post. So what do you have to say about? Say you are you saying that post as much as you can every day, 10 post, or is there a limit for?
Okay, so posting content, you've got to look at it this way. The more content that you post and the more consistently you post, the better at it you become. Now, what that does not mean, it doesn't mean post 20 posts a day every hour. Okay, you want to leave minimum 2.5 hours between each post, number one. I personally post 3 times a day most days. That's 6 days a week. And I will also share one other person's post as well. So technically 4 posts a day. But that's not for everybody. That's just me personally. And I don't necessarily promote that strategy for everybody else. Post the amount of content that you post is an individual thing, but just start posting content that adds value to your audience. That's the key. The content's got to add value to your audience. Okay.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Strong point. Strong points made, Derek. I totally agree with that. I totally agree with that. 2.5 hour is the minimum gap you should be having when you're posting, and uh, once you do that, say 2.5 hours, at least 3 posts per day is I think that's a good strategy for a person to be visible on LinkedIn.
But
So,
some people, sorry to interrupt, some people will post 3 times a week, and that's fine. Okay, because every time they post, every time they're creating their content, every time they're creating their posts, they're gradually getting better and better at it. And that's what's important. So just start posting, post as many times a week as you're comfortable with, but make sure you do it consistently, week after week after week, without fail.
okay. Now, moving on to the next question, which are a bit advanced questions. I mean, say, Derek, you've got full liberty and authority. If you want to skip the question, you can do that, and I'm going to move on to the next question. Now, some advanced questions related to LinkedIn for business. Question on your screen, Derek.
That was a bit fast for me.
One moment.
How to
It's loading
design
quickly.
a 4 post weekly flywheel, value story, call to action community that sustains 100,000K impressions. How to design a 4 post weekly. Okay,
Let
number
me
one.
also repeat the question.
Yep.
For our audience. So what I'm asking is to Derek. This is a bit advanced question for Derek, and only
Mhm.
people like expert people like Derek can answer this. So the question for Derek is how to design a 4 post weekly flywheel that is value, story, CTA community that sustains 100K impressions.
Okay. Um, First of all, the number of impressions you're going, or the amount of reach you're going to get with your content comes down to 2 things. Your own following is number one. And the second one is the interaction that you have before you put up your own post and the amount of interaction that comes back towards you. Okay. So it's not just the post strategy itself, you've got to give to get. The LinkedIn algorithm wants people to post content, but it also wants people to support other people's content. So when you support other people's content, what's it going to do with your content? It's going to push it out to a wider audience, especially if those other people whose content you are supporting reciprocate and come back and support your content. All right, so that's number one. Secondly, think about your post, the breakdown of those 4 posts. In the signature of your post, you can use up to 9 hashtags. I prefer 3 to 5 maximum. And particularly single word hashtags, double word hashtags, they can help emphasize a point, but most of the double word hashtags have reduced reach. So single word hashtags you'll find have a much larger following. So 3 to 5 hashtags maximum. Also importantly, in your signature, include a call to action for people to follow you and give people a reason to follow you. Okay. So for example, I say, follow me, Derick Mildred, for more LinkedIn for business tips and a daily dose of inspiration that I use. Okay. Leading into that signature at the end of your post, have a point, an emphasis point about the added value in that post, and then ask the audience for their own experience and to share their thoughts in the comments below. Okay, so you're emphasizing a point and then you're asking the audience to share their thoughts or experience in the comments below. So another call to action, asking them to leave a meaningful comment. Okay. And then, of course, the actual body copy of the post, regardless of what the post might be, is basically you have your hook to start the post with. You might emphasize that hook with a pain point, and then the solution to that pain point, and then the steps to apply or the actions to take, and then finish off with your signature, etc. So that's the starting or the basics of it. Importantly, you've got to build up your following before you can start to get massive numbers on the numbers of views or impressions of your particular post.
Fair enough. Good answer to that question. And to be very honest, to the same question, I have one more thing, which I'm asking out of curiosity right now. Now, LinkedIn algorithm has changed, Derek. To be very honest, as a LinkedIn expert, you might have get to know that from a very long time. From the past 6 to 8 months, I'm seeing a drastic fall in the reach of LinkedIn post. Impressions are less. Out of curiosity, as a student of LinkedIn learning, I want to ask what actually is happening behind the stage and why LinkedIn is limiting their users and not letting them reach new people. So, do you have any thoughts on that?
Okay. So on average, LinkedIn does an algorithm update twice per year. Okay. They don't tell us when it's happening, but what literally does happen is the regular users of the platform start noticing things are working a little bit differently. And we've narrowed it down to the first update of the year is usually around mid-January to mid-February, sometimes a little bit later. And then the second update of the year is usually around July, August. Okay. Now, I've seen diagrams of the algorithm, and it's not very straightforward. It's very complex. And that's based on what LinkedIn wants the algorithm to actually achieve for LinkedIn, as well as for the audience. But one thing is common over most of the algorithm releases over the last probably 7 or 8 years, and that is the reach has been gradually being reduced each time. Now, what was also very interesting is this year, just recently, they've released the opportunity for anybody to be able to boost their post. Okay, so that makes sense. If you're going to reduce the algorithm and you want people to pay to boost their posts to reach a wider audience, then it's obviously a revenue spinner for them as well.
Exactly, exactly. Everything comes down to money now. I was just checking about the updates on LinkedIn right now. I did not get what I was looking for. But anyhow, what I've seen is LinkedIn is pushing for more and more revenue. I'm not sure why, but they have introduced their own AI, inbuilt AI. They've introduced new features, and also they are reducing the reach just to get more money out of the pocket of their users. I think, and any thoughts on that as well? Does LinkedIn have LinkedIn become more greedy or wants more money? What do you have to say about
They're a corporation. They're there to make money.
that? And to be very honest, I just want to add one more thing. There is a very specific timeline. There is a specific formula. I mean, say you give out your services, or in 2004 or 2006, I never even knew what LinkedIn was. I was just a kid. I was just born. I think I was around uh, 10 to 12 years old at that time. At that time, when people registered on this platform, uh, according to my research, what I have done right now, this platform was completely free. And if you see the reach in 2020, 16, I mean, say 2020, 2019, if you see the reach, a simple post with some emojis and attractive format will get thousands of impressions. I got
Yep.
that. I mean, say in 2019, I've just posted a random post and it got around 96,000 impressions. Now, coming to the main point, what I want to ask you is now, um, this is a bit controversial, Derek, and I does not want any trouble for anybody, not for me, not for anybody on this program. But I think you have heard about the astronomer controversy.
Astronomer.
Astronomer, yeah, astronomer. There is a company whose CEO got caught with the I mean, say, if you search on the internet, it's available still. Astronomer, where the CEO of that company got caught with the chief people's officer, and they were having some, and they took a picture of.
Oh, you mean the two at the concert, the Coldplay concert?
Yes, yes, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm talking.
Right.
Yeah. So, to be very honest, I believe that was a publicity stunt. I totally believe that it was a publicity stunt to
He
make the
resigned.
company. I'm sorry.
He resigned.
He resigned.
He
He
was,
resigned.
yeah, he was the
He
CFO or CEO of the company, and he resigned.
And now why I'm saying that this was a publicity stunt, or there was a, I mean, say, even if he has resigned, he can get back. I'm not sure what's going on behind the stage, but what I have thought and what I have understood about this is, because you know the pattern was not normal. They have a controversy, they have this, and they again promote the services of the company and things like that, many things like that, which have pointed out, which have given signals that this was all made up. Now, I'll tell you what one interesting thing about this astronomer scandal. Just out of the blue, the reach was already falling. This whole complete year, reach was falling. But as soon as someone is talking about astronomer or using a hashtag astronomer scandal and something like that, anything related to that part of the conversation, their posts were getting huge views, comments, and reactions to their post. Now, which brings me to the conclusion that astronomer wantedly, in collaboration with all the other social media platform, wantedly have created a scene so that they become famous. I mean, say, any publicity is a good publicity, as far as the saying goes. So it's whether it's a good publicity or bad publicity, at the end of the day, it's publicity. So I have 1,000 impressions on my post, which was a vague post. I just discussed about this is happening. I mean, I just read a news article, and just out of the blue, I typed it and posted news about this scandal, which was not well written. It was not in a format, but I got around 80,000 impressions on that post, which I usually does not get on any other well thought, well created, well formatted post. So, your thoughts on this? It's a controversial thing again. If you want to speak on it, that would be great. If you does not want to, that's also okay.
Oh, there's probably a lot more people putting their arms around staff members at Coldplay concerts as a result of it. uh, so if your boss invites you to a Coldplay concert, it's up to you if you want to go or not, I guess. Look, all jokes aside, well, look at it this way: there are some companies out there, and people who will prefer to generate PR than to advertise. Okay, they would prefer to generate publicity instead of advertising. Now, I'll give you a very, very famous example. Okay, there is a family in the UK that does this every single week. Now, they do it because they can't advertise. Okay, but they are in the media every single week for the entire year, year in, year out, year in, year out. The royal family is mentioned in the media, and a lot of it is PR. Okay, and what are they doing? They're generating tourism. They're getting people talking about it. Okay, so a lot of it's publicity. And that's the world we live in. If we can get somebody to talk about something, and LinkedIn knows the topics that create more interest. They know the topics of interest, the topics that are going viral. They know the topics that are trending. And there's tools that you can use to find the latest topics that are trending. Again, you can post comments about those. You can put up content about those. Okay, but it comes back to it. Is that topic relative to your business? Is that topic relative to your objectives? I mean, if you're selling marriage counseling, then yes, the couple at the Coldplay concert could be relevant. Okay, but if you're a lawyer and you're selling get out of jail free cards, it might be something completely different.
Awesome. Awesome. Totally agree with that. Totally agree with that. And very nicely put, very gracefully put answer to that controversial question. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to ask that question, to be very honest. Out of curiosity, it just came up in my mind with the LinkedIn reach falling. I mean, I'm not even getting 10 to 15 impressions per post every day.
Right.
Anyhow, that's a different topic again. Now, for every post, they are asking me to boost. If you want to boost this post or not. When I saw the rates, I completely dropped the idea. Then after, I saw the rates. I mean, say it's very expensive to boost post, but people are doing it. I mean, say I have seen a post which
I haven't even looked at it, but I do know if you wanted to advertise on LinkedIn, you can set your own budget. Can you set your own budget within the rates?
no, that's it's very expensive, to be very honest. I mean, say even if we are setting budget to set a minimum value, that's also very expensive. It's around $4,000, I think. I'm not sure. Again, LinkedIn does not. No offense to LinkedIn, but uh, uh, you're doing your
Yeah.
business, and everybody wants to be successful, but it's a costly affair. So anyhow, and only for one post. Oh, come on! Only for one post, and for the other post again, I have to pay. That's a very costly affair. So I just refrained myself from doing that. But I still love LinkedIn. I usually post every now and then whenever I have time. I usually host the main platform which I used for my LinkedIn events is, uh, you know, obviously LinkedIn, apart from Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, and X
Mm.
sometimes. But it's a costly affair to promote posts here. But anyways, moving on quickly to the next question, Derek, which is again based on a LinkedIn business. And now it's a tough question again. Uh, how to use AI plus human edits to generate 30 original posts a month at 90% authenticity, full prompt chain. Now, this is based on AI.
Full
Derek,
prompt what? Full prompt what?
I'll just put the question. Full,
You
full,
can, if you want.
full prompt chain.
What do you mean?
One moment. I'm just going.
Okay, just to go back to your comment before about boosting a post, you can set your own budget. You can, I
Okay.
mean, I'm looking at it right now. I can set a budget of $50 for a total of 5 days. Yeah,
Okay. That's great.
yeah.
So, so moving on quickly to the next question. So
Generate
this
30
is the
original
question.
posts a month, 90% authenticity. Full prompt chain. What does full prompt chain mean?
That means uh, a prompt chain. How to write the prompts on ChatGPT to write. I mean, say the
Oh,
question is about using artificial intelligence, using ChatGPT to write the post, and at the same time maintaining the human authenticity while writing. It shouldn't be
so
robot.
okay. So what that person's asking for is they actually want the prompt to create 30 original posts a month at 90% authenticity. Okay. All right. Let's break this down. So I on average, I create 3 posts a day, and I do that 6 days a week. Okay. And I use ChatGPT to help me create those posts. And then importantly, when you do use ChatGPT to help you create that post, to help you write the post, it just makes perfect sense to proofread it. Okay. And to make any updates, changes, improvements, whatever it might be, before you go live with that post. Secondly, when you use ChatGPT to create your content, you've got to give it some context. So don't just say, create a post about, use the contents. So let's say you are an accountant. Okay. So you might start your prompt with, from a highly respected, highly experienced accountant specializing in corporate taxes, please write a post about, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, so you've got to give it that context to position you where that post is coming from. Okay. And then secondly, tell it what you want in the post. So tell to create an overview or to create content based on the topic. Okay. And then give it the topic. Okay. And then you might also say, please also add 3 bullet points. You might say include a pain point plus 3 bullet points or bullet benefit points, and then steps to apply. Okay, so give it topic, the pain point, the steps to apply, and then the bullet points. All right, and then finish off with your signature, let's say. And so you've got to work out what kind of context and what you want in that post or what you want to create, and you've got to give it that in the prompt so that it can then create what it is that you're looking for. Now, to give you an example, the other day I spent an hour and a half on ChatGPT creating 6 weeks worth of content, titles only, because that's all I need to create my posts, just the titles. Then I can take those titles on the day and I can create each individual post based on that title. That's a separate prompt altogether. But the reason I spent an hour and a half on it is because I was refining the prompts to actually give me the content and the style of content that I was looking for. Right, so you've got to work your prompts. It doesn't spit it out to you instantly because it doesn't know exactly what you need unless you tell it exactly what you need. And even then, you want to refine, you want to polish, you want to perfect your prompts or adjust your prompts to see what else it'll spit out. Okay, see what else it'll give you, because that might be more along the lines of what you originally wanted.
Exactly.
Okay. So work your prompts is what I'm saying. Give it some context.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that insightful answer, Derick. So
Oh,
using
one other point that I'll make, which is really interesting with ChatGPT. I thought about this about a year ago. If I was one of the creators of AI or ChatGPT, how would I want it to react to the prompts that people would give it? Okay. And the answer that I came up with was pleasantries. So use your pleases and your thank yous. I personally believe if I use a please and a thank you, it gives me better responses. Now, I could be wrong on that, but that's just my personal opinion. So, and I think the creators would probably have gone down that road. Treat it nicely and see what it does.
Okay. Well, that's an interesting point. I never knew about it. I mean,
Just
I
try
knew
it.
about it. Yeah.
Just say, please give me an overview, or please write an overview about the topic, and then give it the topic. Please also reference 3 bullet points, 1 pain point, and 3 steps to apply, and see what it gives you. And then use a completely different tone and see what else it gives you. See what it comes out with. Test it yourself.
I mean, even machines have feelings. What do you have to say about that?
I don't know if even machines have feelings, but I know that the programmers would like the people using those machines to use them nicely. That makes perfect sense to me. I mean, to put it another way, if I have 1 million people who are being very mean and unkind to a piece of artificial intelligence technology that I've created, where do I think that artificial intelligence technology is going to go? Probably not in the direction I want it to go. Right? So if you're nice to it, it's going to be nice to you, or it's going to be nice to us. That's my theory. I could be wrong. It's just a theory.
Now, interesting perspective, Derick. To be very honest with you, some people use Chat GPT. As their friends. So right now, I've seen some people using it as their partner. Sometimes, not every time, but I have seen some cases where people speak to Chat GPT, and to be very honest, be very kind and very be good to Chat GPT, because who knows, in the coming future, like in Genesis or Terminator. If Chat GPT take, I mean, say if you show kindness right now, then artificial intelligence is going to show you kindness. Then that is what I
Exactly.
want to.
Exactly. And when you think about it, do you think the programmers or whoever created it, do you think they would have actually created that as part of it? I do. I think they'd be mad not to.
Exactly. Yeah. Thank you so much for that insightful answer, Derek. Quickly moving on to the next question, which I have for you on your screen. That is going to be
How to
how to
mine
mine.
50 plus high intent comments a week and convert 20 into viral follow up threads. I don't like the word mine. High intent comments per week. What do you mean by mine? You're going to pull those off somebody else's content or what?
Now,
Viral follow.
I mean, say the basic understanding of this question is asking how to put out, thoughtful and interactive comments under someone else's post, and in the process get more views to our profile.
Just like and comment on other people's posts. If you,
Thoughtful comment.
yeah, if you're smart about it, be strategic about it. So like and comment on either people who are prospects for you and your business, or influencers, or both.
Do you also believe that commenting on others' posts will bring more profile views and in turn bring you more prospects to your business?
Absolutely.
So,
I each day I would make about 100 comments on other people's posts. Okay. And I have folders set up with different people in those folders. I go straight to their content feed. And so I have had people reach out and connect to me because I've made a comment on Gary Vee's post. Okay. Or Alex Hormozzi's post, or Simon Sinek's posts. I've had people reach out to me because they like my comment on those posts.
oh, that's interesting. So people, get to commenting strategy. I mean, say
Yeah.
give thoughtful comments
Yeah.
on others' post, and they are going to come back to your profile, and in turn, they can become your prospect. Okay,
Now,
Derek.
just one point that I should also make too.
Sure.
The word viral, it's an exciting word. All right. It's exciting when you get up in the morning, you open up your LinkedIn, and you see that you've got a post that's exploded, and it's got 100,000 impressions, and it's got 100 likes on it, and 100 comments, etc. Okay. And for those who have experienced it, know exactly how exciting it is. You think, wow, okay. But then comes the hard bit. It's a good idea, and not everybody does it, but it's a good idea to try and reply to every one of those comments, because it's an opportunity to start a conversation. Okay. But if you've ever had a post with 100 comments on it before, you know how long it can take to reply to 100 of them, right? You know how long it can take to reply to 50 of them. Okay. It takes a bit of work. It takes a little bit of effort. So then you've got to ask yourself, okay, the viral thing, whilst it may be exciting, number one, has it done anything for your business? Has it generated any leads or inquiries for you? Has it got comments inside your inbox? And it depends what the post is all about, obviously. But you've got to ask yourself that question. I see people every day, and some of them, their content I even share. They put up content that's not specifically related to their business, but they'll put a twist on it on the intro to that post that might turn it back in towards something relative to their business. And that's okay. But the whole viral thing, it's called vanity metrics for a good reason. Okay. In many cases, that's exactly what it is. It's vanity metrics. You got to ask yourself the question, does this help my business? And the answer is either yes or no. Okay. Does it generate inquiries, leads for my business? Yes or no? No if, buts, or maybes. It's either yes or no.
Awesome. Awesome. Uh, Insightful answer and insightful explanation. And totally agree. I totally agree with you on that part. Now, speaking about the next question which I have for you. Now, I was speaking about the profile views, commenting strategy. Now
Mm.
the next question is based on the profile views because we all know if a person is interested, I mean, say seriously interested, he's going to look at your profile. And that is where we have the window to make an impression and to give out a message to the person that we are here and we do this to show
Mm.
ourselves. I mean, say he's
Mm.
going to check out our profile and he's going to see our banner, our headline, and things like that. So there are two questions related to that. First is what I mean, say how we should be ready for this window to make a lasting impression when the person comes to see or view our profile. The second question is a bit technical, which is on the screen for you: how to turn a profile view, comment, DM, booked call in under 24 hours.
Okay. Um, to book the call, use a video. Simple. Use a video. Send that person a video.
Okay.
Right. You want to book. You want to, and along with a Calendly link, so they can book the
Oh,
call.
mhm.
Right.
Okay.
Simple as that. Um, Profile views. You should be monitoring your profile views, which means you need LinkedIn Premium, because without LinkedIn Premium, you can only see the 3 most recent people who have viewed your profile. Now, if you're getting 100 profile views a day, which is basically what I get, if I did not have Sales Navigator or Premium, then I would be missing out on potentially a lot of leads because those people are viewing my profile for a reason. There's a level of interest there, right? So you need Premium at the very least, so you can see almost everybody who has viewed your LinkedIn profile. The ones you can't see are the people who've adjusted their settings. They want to be secretive and they don't want people knowing that they're looking at other people's profiles, which is a bit ridiculous. But anyway, that's just my opinion. So you can see people have viewed your profile, and then you might send them a message. The ones who, well, before you send them a message, you're going to look at their name, but more importantly, you're going to look at their headline to see if that person is a fit for your perfect client avatar. Right? You might open up their profile and check them out further. And if they are a fit, then you're going to send them a message. Thanks for stopping by my profile. Really do appreciate it. Just curious, are you only here for the content, or do you need help with et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? Really is as simple
Exactly.
as that.
Exactly. I totally agree with you. And before we move on to the next question, I have a curious question again. While people keep their profile anonymous, first of all, they want to see on LinkedIn, they does not want to interact with anyone. No, I mean, say, no problem there. It's completely your choice to keep it that way. But there are some people who are at a very high end, high profile people with high status, VPs, CEOs, and C-suite level executives, directors. I want to connect with one of the person because that person is of interest to me, but they have, uh, I mean, say LinkedIn gives out whenever I try to connect with him. LinkedIn gives out a pop-up saying you need to have his email address. So any thoughts on that? Any help you could or any way you could suggest to get in touch with that person?
Interact with that person via their content first and their company page. Okay, but specifically via their content. Just start the conversation via their content. Now, in many cases, they will have somebody looking after their social media for them, including their LinkedIn profile. Okay. And you've just got to be persistent. So the reason you interact via their content is you're looking to get the conversation started. You're looking for them to start to reply to your comments on their posts. Okay. And then to do that consistently over and over and over again. So you let them get to know you. Okay. And you get to know them. Then you can start to reach out to them, check out their website, check out their other social media platforms, see what they're doing social media wise. But religiously follow their content and reach out to them via their content. And you'll be amazed who you can connect with. I've connected to people in the top 20 in the world via their content.
That's an interesting approach, I believe.
It
Thank you
works.
so much. Yeah, thank you so much for suggesting that pathway for connecting with high profile people. Speaking of which, moving on to the next question, which I have for you. Again, I'll just put this question on the screen, which is
There we go. Networking,
uh,
visibility, and interviews was how much I got into that.
I mean, say that was a different question, but the actual question is this. Uh, because today's podcast main theme is LinkedIn for Business. So this is the question: how to build a profile as landing page with 7 micro conversion that pre-qualifies 70% of visitors.
Tofu, mofu, and bofu.
Okay.
Look, top of funnel, middle of funnel, bottom of funnel. Okay, is where that's going. Okay. Um, 4 things when people, or 5 things when people first open up your profile. These are the people who know LinkedIn, know how the platform works, know how to use it. Your banner image, your face pic, your headline, your featured section, number of recommendations you have. Okay, so banner pic, face pic, headline, featured section, recommendations. All right, those are 5 of them. Now, inside the featured section, make sure you have 1, maximum 2 items inside your featured section. Okay, and that 1 or 2 items inside your featured section has got to be, where do you want them to go next? And think about your objective. Now, if you're going to send them to your Calendly link, then you've got to look at your Calendly link as middle of funnel, because your profile is top of funnel, right? But your Calendly link is middle of funnel, which is MOFU. All right. So when they go to your Calendly link, are they just going to book a call with you, or are you going to have some qualifying questions as part of that Calendly link? And I would highly recommend the qualifying questions. You're allowed up to 10 of them, but you have to be a subscriber to Calendly to be able to do that. I think it costs $20 a month or something. It's nothing. And then bottom of funnel is when you actually get on the call with them. Okay. Now, so before you actually get them to your profile, you've got to give them a reason to go to your profile. And that comes back to your content. Right. And the call to action in your content and whatever trip magnet or lead magnet you might provide them as part of that. Okay.
Good answer. Totally agree with that point.
Now, just to quickly reiterate on one particular part of that, recommendations, they are your social proof. So when somebody who's in the know, somebody knows how to use LinkedIn, knows how LinkedIn works, and they open up your LinkedIn profile and they look at those 5 things immediately and they scroll straight down to your recommendations, they're bypassing your about section, they're bypassing your experience section. If there's enough there for them to come back and read those, they will. But they're going to go to your recommendations and they want to see recent recommendations and a good number of them. If there are no recent recommendations, if your most recent recommendations was in 2019, you've lost them. Because they're already thinking to themselves, is this person still in business? He's had no satisfied clients for the last 6 years. Lost, I'll go elsewhere. Okay, your recommendations are your social proof.
So you
Now,
mean that
you can never have Uh, you can never have too much social proof, but you can have too little social proof. Now, another part of your profile is also your services section where you can have reviews in there as well. All right. So you want to make asking for social proof an ongoing part of your business development strategy and your marketing strategy of using anything online, but especially LinkedIn.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I mean, say this is an interesting point you made here, that you need to have a recommendation as fresh as possible. Is that
Yes.
what you said right now? Yeah.
Yeah. If I've got a
Never.
recommendation, if I've got a recommendation from last week or the last couple of weeks or within the last month, I'm telling the audience that I'm still in business and I'm still doing a good job. Okay, that's what I'm saying to my leads or to my prospects. If I haven't got a recommendation since 2019, then that person looking at my profile is sitting there thinking to themselves, well, I don't even know if this guy's still in business.
Agreed. Agreed. Uh, Good to know this. Never knew about this before. Never ever knew about this. So, okay, now the question comes here. So, okay, now we are speaking about people who are running a business on LinkedIn. Now, people who are looking for jobs, they get a recommendation from a long time from their previous bosses and people like that. Does that strategy apply? Does that same strategy apply to these job seekers as well?
Try to get as many recommendations as you can as either somebody in business or even a job seeker. Um, Job seekers, you can ask for recommendations from people you've worked for, as well as from people that you've worked with, colleagues, etc. The key is you've just got to ask. Okay, if you don't ask, nothing's going to happen. So you've got to ask.
Okay.
Try to get as
Yes.
many recommendations as possible. As I said earlier, you can never have too many, but you can have too little.
Exactly. I totally agree with that. And also, I totally agree with the point that you've made. If you do not ask, you will not get anything.
Mm.
We have to ask. Okay, now speaking about something very serious now. But before that, I have this question in my mind and I'm going to keep it safe. But before that question, this question is very relevant, not important, but relevant. Now, I wouldn't say, I mean, say don't go with the number, but anyhow, I'll read out the question. And the question is how to send 150 personalized DMs per day at 80% reply rate without triggering spam filter.
Don't,
Okay.
don't, no, don't. Okay, you might get away with it a couple of times. You might figure out a way to get away with it a couple of times. But if you want to get your restrictions on your account, trying to send out 150 requests to connect a day is a fast way of doing it. LinkedIn is going to think you're using either automation or you're spamming people or both. The real answer to that question would be to create a post that's going to bring you in inquiries that are genuinely interested in what you offer than to try and connect with 150 people a day.
Okay. Uh, People who are already our connections, can we send 150 DMs to them every
Yes, you
day?
can. And you want to mix it up every 50 to 75.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. I'm just asking because most of my people who are my followers and people who listen to this program are also recruiters. Now you
Yeah.
understand what is a
Look,
recruiter.
if you need to send out 150 messages a day, change your approach because something's very wrong in there. Okay. I know plenty of people who make very, very good money for their business via LinkedIn. They're sending out 20 messages a day. And then they don't have to do that every day. They might do it one day a week.
That's interesting. That's very interesting, Derick. To be very honest, I'll tell you one thing. So only recruiters know what I'm talking about, and I'm not sure if you know this. There is a specific website which is known as, I mean, say there is a specific way of searching for people, and this has existed for a very long time before the AI. And as recruiters, we use this approach to get more relevant profiles for the job descriptions, which is known as X-ray search,
Mhm.
where we use Boolean search patterns. We create Boolean search. What should I say? A formula, kind of. I mean, say, would put that in brackets and or not. I mean, see, if you know about this Boolean search, how it works, you would get to know that we will use this specific
Mhm.
formula to get the exact profile. I mean, say software engineer and Java. So we get a Java
Mhm.
software engineer exactly. So that we use X-ray search as well. This is Boolean search. We also use X-ray search. Um, I usually did not like this approach, and I also, as I was a manager where I was working for a corporate sometime back before I started my business, I used to tell my people who were under me not to use that approach, is because uh, if you reach out to people and they report you in turn, and or if they say you, I'm not sure if you still get that option. I don't know this person. Whenever
Mhm.
you get a personalized, not a personalized invite, but just a connection, a request, there will be two options: accept or I don't know this person. We used to have this back in 2019 or 2020. Or
It's
if
still
in
there.
I
You can
mean,
still be IDK. You can still
ah,
be IDK.
okay, I don't know this person, it's still there. So
Yeah.
and if the other person who received the invite go a step further and blocks you or reports you, that's going to have a very adverse effect on your profile in turn. So
5 to 7,
speak
you're allowed. 5 to 7
five.
IDKs, you're allowed.
Okay, okay, roll down. So speaking of which, question related to the same context, I wanted to ask you. Now this is really important, and it's always important. Now what happens is, while doing these practices, uh, we get we land in the LinkedIn jail,
Yep.
where they want us to review our IDs or provide our authentication and things like that. Now, what happens is, we usually know, I mean, say this is a usual question where we ask our LinkedIn experts to help us navigate through this tough phase. Now, what happens is, as recruiters, what people are doing, which I does not like, the fact once LinkedIn suspends or restrict a person's access to their profile, they create a new profile. They create a new profile and start approaching again. So, what do you have to say about that?
Okay. So if I receive a request to connect from somebody with less than 100 connections, I'm not interested. I don't care who they are. I'm not interested because to me they're either doing exactly that or they're not serious about LinkedIn or both. Okay. Um, Secondly, when you put in some work, when you've built up a reasonable following, and that reasonable following could be 2,000 people, 3,000 people, 2,000 connections or 3,000 connections, and you know how much work goes into building up just that level of connections. Okay. You don't want to risk that. You don't want to jeopardize that. So you don't want to lose your account and just open up another one because then you've got to start all over again. So this is why I have always said, anytime you send a request to connect with people, always include a message. Now, there are some people out there that promote don't include messages. You get a higher acceptance rate. I think that's the biggest crock of garbage I've ever heard. Okay. Give people a reason. Let people know why you want to connect with them. Visit their profile, look for a mutual area of interest. Okay, interact with them via their content, get that conversation going two ways, let them get to know you a little bit, and then send them a request to connect and tell them how much you've enjoyed their content, particularly the recent post about whatever it was, and that you thought you'd reach out to connect, invite them to connect. Be nice about it, and you'll get more of those people who accept your request to connect, and you can continue on the conversation. Okay, but if you just want to hit connect, okay, yeah, you'll build up some numbers, you'll build up your IDKs, and eventually you'll wind up with restrictions on your account, and you'll get a notice from LinkedIn when you submit a support request that says, we've received far too many people who have IDK'd you and said they don't know you. These restrictions on your account, because you haven't changed your behavior, these restrictions are now permanent. Okay, and let me tell you, because I've had it, I've seen it. Okay, that email is scary because you think to yourself, now I've created a problem because I cannot connect with anybody else anymore. I've got to rely on people connecting with me. Yeah, it's one of those wow moments. What have I done? Okay, but what I can tell you is, if you change your approach, if you remain a subscriber to LinkedIn, after a period of time, if you admit your wrongdoing, and they know exactly what you've been doing, they can see everything on what you've been doing inside your account. Okay, if you admit to what you've been doing, then you have a chance to get those restrictions lifted. Even though they've told you they're permanent, you have a chance to get them lifted, but you have to curb your behavior. You have to change your approach, and you've got to demonstrate that to them.
That means no a connection request to unknown. I mean, say when you does not know that people do not send a connection request. Also, do you also think that putting rants or posts that are, you know, uh, are classified as they explain their situation with their company, stuff like that, their stories, their problems, so that also is included in this thing.
You talking about a rant about LinkedIn themselves or a rant about another company?
Rant about their own company or their colleagues or their own life problems and stuff like that.
Okay, there's a book which it's by a guy called Dale Carnegie, and it's called How to Win Friends and Influence People. And I can promise you one thing: rants are not part of that strategy. Okay, so if you want to put up a post on LinkedIn and rant about LinkedIn, I don't think that's going to help you greatly. So it's not something I would recommend. It'll more than likely make the situation worse. Okay, people ranting about their own company, the company that they work for, I wouldn't recommend that road either, to be honest.
Okay, that will land them in trouble. I
Well,
mean,
it
say they
usually
can.
does. Usually does, doesn't it?
Okay, okay, well, that's the thing. Thank you so much for that brief answer. That's an insightful answer, Derek, to be very honest. Speaking of which, I quickly want to know the process of getting out of the shadow banning or the LinkedIn jail. So could you please, let us know about that part as well, because that is important. But when I was practicing my when I was I mean, say I am still a LinkedIn trainer, but I does not train people as a business right now. But when I used to, for some time, when I had started my own business, Shaq Consulting, where I used to write resumes and train people on LinkedIn and stuff like that, giving career advices as a recruiter for past 10 years. I used to do that. So people were ready to uh, give any price just to get that LinkedIn profile back. There were some cases they go and create jobs and freelance platforms to get out of that jail, and they are in a very they are scared themselves, and also they scare the other person who's trying to help them, and they are in a desperate situation. So can you please help us or let us know what is the correct path to get out of that LinkedIn jail, because we does not have access to our profiles, does not have the link to approach LinkedIn.
All right. So here's what happens. The first couple of times you wind up with account restrictions, they are for a period of time only. Okay, so after that period of time, and it can be a month, it can be 3 months, but after that period of time, they will lift the restrictions automatically. Okay, and you won't know they've lifted the restrictions. They won't send you an email saying, congratulations, we've lifted the restrictions on your account. The only way that you'll figure it out is you'll be able to log into your account and you'll be able to start connecting with people. All right. And what I can tell you is that each time you wind up with restrictions, they get more severe. Okay. And look, I remember sending in a message saying, I see people with 25,000 connections. I want 25,000 connections. How do I do that? And they wouldn't give me an answer. Okay. But they did come back to me and say, change your behaviors. Okay. So you've got to change your approach each time until you find the approach that works for you. But the one thing that I will tell you is always send a request to connect message. You're allowed up to 300 characters. So always do that. The second thing I will say is be a bit more strategic, be a little bit more patient. So number one, LinkedIn always says to you, only connect with people who you know, right? You can get to know people via their content. You can let people get to know you via their content. I've connected to people with over 1 million followers via their content. Okay, so let people get to know you, you get to know them, then send them a request to connect with a personalized message. Okay, so let people get to know you, you get to know them, send them that personalized message request to connect. The other thing which is important is in your own content, have a call to action down the bottom that gives people a reason to connect with or a reason to follow you. So connect with me or follow me, Derick Mildred, for daily LinkedIn to more business tips, or LinkedIn for business tips and a daily dose of inspiration, or whatever call to action you choose. And you'll build up your following and your connections that way as well.
Good answer, insightful answer, Derek. And
Thank you.
speaking of which, you've just mentioned how to write a post and ask people and give them a reason to follow you and get to know you and the work you do. So based on that same concept, in the same context, I have the next question: how to write silent offer posts that generate 50 inbound leads without visible CTA.
Without a visible CTA, you've got to have a call to action. There's not much point in doing it without a call to action. Your call to action is the most important part of the post. You've got to have a call to action.
Okay. So, I mean, say,
Now, the other thing
would
which you can do,
you suggest writing a silent offer in a post?
well, you got to look at the psychology behind it. Why do you need to create a silent offer? Why not just tell people what it is? I mean, we want to build on that know, like, and trust factor. Okay, so when I hear things silent offers, I think just tell people what it is. Make it simple. Don't make it complicated. Okay, why does the offer need to be silent? Why do you need to hide things? Anytime you need to hide things, you're destroying that know, like, and trust factor. So even if you did create 50 inbound leads from it, how many of them are going to convert? I have no idea. Versus if you tell people exactly what it is, the ones that come in are going to be partially qualified. You're then going to send them to a Calendly link that's going to further qualify them. By the time you get on the call with them, you've got a much better chance of closing the deal. If
Great
I
answer.
if I want to sell you a car for $10,000 and you're interested in the car, but I'm not going to tell you what brand it is or what sort of car it is, are you going to look at it any further?
Exactly. Exactly. Totally agree with that answer. Thank you for
I
that
mean, it could be
insightful.
a beaten up Mini or it could be a Ferrari. You don't know if it's a silent offer.
Exactly. 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 Totally agree with that point you made there. So, speaking of which, quickly going on to the next question. Just now, you know, these are simple yet powerful questions for you, Derek. Quickly, I will ask. There are only four questions based on how to build and scale a personal brand, which is very important for business, as
Mm.
everybody knows. Okay, so the question number one, which I want to ask you, is how to layer credentials plus social proof plus contrarian takes to rank number one in niche search in 90 days.
Search on where?
Search one.
On LinkedIn or on Google?
No, on LinkedIn,
Okay.
to be very honest.
All right. Search algorithms are exactly that. They're an algorithm. So what ranks on page one here in Australia for me, because I'm located in Australia, is not going to rank number one in India because I'm not located in India. Okay. Now there's several factors that add to this. The first one is keywords. You want to strategically use your top three keywords throughout your LinkedIn profile that you want to be searched for. And you can check the search volumes of specific keywords using a platform called wordtracker.com. Okay. And that will give you the search volumes for keywords relevant to your niche for your particular country or any country of interest. So you want to define the top three keywords that you want to use throughout your profile. You want to use those keywords in your headline, in your about section, in your experience section, in your skills section. The top three skills should be your top three keywords, and in your content, particularly if possible, in titles of your newsletters or articles. Articles are actually indexed by Google, or they were. I think they still are. Um, and also throughout your content and also in your recommendations, those keywords, you can also request that people, when they write a recommendation for you, can use those keywords throughout their recommendation. Okay, those are all things that help to make your profile rank higher in the search results. But understand that nobody's going to get number one ranking on LinkedIn for a particular search term or any particular search term across many different countries around the world. It's not going to happen. Okay. You
Okay.
can, however, rank high in the search results for your own country or specific countries that you work in or with clients in those particular countries. And also don't forget, if there are different languages for those countries, to have your profile in the language of that country as well.
Exactly. Exactly. We have that option, right? Create a secondary profile in our
Yeah, I've
different.
got my profile's in eight languages right now, I think, or it might be more than that, but yeah, it's at least eight.
So the person in that specific country knows who you are and what you work. What's your work and what's your mission?
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Quickly moving on to
You'll,
the
you'll
next
reach,
question in the same.
just to elaborate on the answer to that question, you will reach a lot more people via your content than you will via the search results.
Fair enough. Yes, exactly. I totally agree with that point as well. So make sure we post relevant content on our LinkedIn profiles.
Hmm.
Quickly moving on to the next question, which I have for you, Derek. Now, this
Hmm.
is based on the outreach again. How to pivot content outreach and monetization at 1K followers, 10K followers, 50K to 100K followers. I'll just put this question on the screen as well.
How to pivot
Basically, what
content
we are
out.
asking is how to scale our followers.
How to pivot content outreach and monetization at 1, 10, 50, and 100K followers. No difference. Keep it the same. Just make sure you got
Same
the call to
strategy should be
action.
applied.
Same strategy. Just make sure you've got the call to action and you're posting consistently and your content is adding value to your audience. Okay.
Fair
I'm not
enough.
sure if you're aware or not, but each year I publish two lists. I'm about to put them together for this year. And those lists, one of them is called my list of 250 plus influencers and top voices of LinkedIn. Okay. That list starts at 100,000 followers and there's over 250 people on it. Right. So if you want to know the influencers on the platform, you just look up that list. Okay. The second list is my list of 250 plus rising stars of the platform. And that's for people less than 100,000 followers. Now, the good thing about those lists is they've given me access to the content of a lot of the influencers or most of the influencers on the platform. So I can see exactly what they're doing. And I have them saved in folders because I interact with a lot of them every day as part of those people whose content I interact with. And I can tell you the one thing that all influencers have in common is they consistently post every single day. Some of them will post one post a day, others will post 3 posts a day. Okay, but the one thing that they all do in common is consistently post. And they add value to their audience and they support other people's content before they post.
Exactly.
That's
I
the
totally
key.
agree with that. I mean, see, they are consistent. Also, do you have any time restrictions? I'm sorry, any time formula that you have to post only at this time, or we can post
Uh,
anytime?
what you're getting at, I think, is what is the best time to post. Okay.
Yes,
And there is no right or wrong answer to that. You literally need to test and measure that yourself, depending on where your audience is most reactive to your content. Okay. For me personally, I will share a post anywhere from 10:30 in the morning to 1 in the afternoon. That'll be my first post. And then I will put up my next 3 posts later on in the afternoon throughout that evening. And I'm playing around with different scheduling gaps or time differences now. So I did used to do minimum 2.5 hours. Now I'm pushing that out to 5 or even 6 hours. Does that make sense?
exactly. It does. I was just waiting. Are you? I was just waiting if you're doing any research on that. If you want to say anything
Um,
regarding
no,
the same.
no.
I mean, say to my all my audience, I would like to say there are two things to I mean, say to review or reiterate in this conversation. See, we have spoken while we started the session. Derek has advised us to keep at least a 2.5 hour gap, 3 hour gap. Is that correct, Derek? While we are
Mm-hmm.
posting, the
Two
second
and a
thing
half
is
hours
Derek wants.
minimum. 2.5 hours minimum between posts.
Exactly. The second thing which I've learned from Derek is to post consistently.
Yeah.
Third thing is what Derek explained is your target audience. if I'm not wrong, Derek. Wherever your target audience is located, just make sure that you post at their time when they are awake, or the morning hours, stuff like that, for higher engagement. If I'm right,
Hmm.
Derek.
Yep. Yep. But
Exactly.
look, if you want
So,
to be really strategic about it, interact with people in your target audience before you post. That's the important factor.
oh, important golden nugget now. Derek, let me ask you this. Is it important that to warm up our profile with our before and after posting? That is, commenting on others' post 30 minutes before and 30 minutes after. And what do you have to say about the golden 1 hour rule?
Um, the golden 1 hour rule, if you've got time to reply to people's comments on your posts within an hour of posting, absolutely. I did a lot of that years ago when I did polls. Okay, I and that leads me to another part of LinkedIn that I recommend. Um, when I was doing polls many years ago, basically, as soon as the comments on those polls came in, I was madly answering those comments, and I was doing a lot of that within an hour. And that pushes the poll out to a wider audience. Interestingly, I then discovered about a year after I stopped doing polls that LinkedIn made the polls very attractive as a piece of content by pushing them out to a wider audience, because LinkedIn was gathering data, and they were using their subscribers to do that by getting their subscribers, their users, to post polls. Okay, so for a while their polls had massive reach. If you put up a good poll, the thing could explode and you could get a poll with 300,000 impressions or views and hundreds of comments. Okay, and that happened to me several times. I didn't realize at the time that LinkedIn was gathering data. But so if you want to put up content, be strategic about it, interact with the content of people in your target audience. If you want to be ultra strategic, interact with the content of prospects, of leads for your business before you post. And then if you want to go a step further, send those people a link to your post and ask and just mention to them, I'm curious about your thoughts about this. Is this something you've experienced? Okay. Or to take that a step further, I'm doing some market research and I put up this post about this challenge within your industry. I'm curious, have you ever experienced something like this? And that's a conversation starter.
Awesome. Awesome. To be very honest, Derek, every time I speak to you, my respects keep on increasing, increase for your knowledge, and I respect you from heart. I mean, say the points you have made out here are very, very important, and also the knowledge which you're sharing is very important for business owners. Not only for business owners, I would say any person who is starting out on this LinkedIn platform, people who are looking for jobs, recent graduates. If you want to be successful, if you need to be successful on this platform, you need to follow all the rules of this platform and be very honest and truthful, and whatever, show your real self. That is what I would say. And being honest will definitely bring you success. That is what I follow in my life. So thank you so much, for explaining that question in such brief detail. So, Derek, people who are looking to advance in their careers. I mean, say, I know this is not the theme of the podcast, but people who are looking to advance on their careers, does LinkedIn help doing that? I mean, say, does keeping a correct network,
Absolutely.
people? Okay,
LinkedIn's the
network.
biggest network on the planet. It's what it is. It's a database. It's a network. It's a social media network.
So keeping the right people I mean, say, in your corner will definitely give you the boost which you're looking for.
I'll give you an example. Um, the number one guy in Australia, Anthony James, his name is, he has 3.7 million followers. Okay. I connected with him, and then he became a mentor to me. And we would have phone calls, we still do occasionally, and I'm madly writing down notes of pretty much everything he's told me, right? And learning from that. Okay. So a couple of things happen, and I thought to myself, what if I can get Anthony James to write me a testimonial for my website? So I asked him, and he did. And so then the next thing I did was I thought to myself, well, I wonder if I can get Anthony to write the preface for my book. And I was a bit nervous about asking him, right? Because he's already given me a testimony. I don't want to tread on his toes. I don't want to intrude. I don't want to ask too much, kind of thing, right? And so I nervously asked him. He said, yeah, sure. And so a couple of valuable lessons about all of this. And please, whatever you do, don't hassle Anthony James. He's busy enough as it is. But my point about it all of this is a lot of these people, a lot of the influencers, they're just normal, regular, everyday people, right? But you've got to treat them like that. You've got to have a conversation with them. You've got to build the relationship with them. And this is what networking is, okay? Networking, whether it's in person, face-to-face, or on a platform such as LinkedIn, it's building that professional relationship with somebody. It's building that professional conversation with somebody, so that when you can, or when the time is right, and everybody's different, you can take that conversation to the next level, which is actually away from LinkedIn. Now, that next level conversation could be a face-to-face meeting, could be an invitation to an event, it could be a phone call, a Zoom call, whatever it might be. Okay. And it's during that next conversation where you are literally taking a conversation to another level altogether, whatever that may be. Okay, but LinkedIn provides you with the opportunities to do that, provided you learn how and practice how. And the key to learning how and practicing how, there's no shortcuts. There's no increasing your connections by 1,000 connections next week. Okay, it's doing it professionally, it's doing it properly, and the results will come.
Exactly. There are no shortcuts to success, according to the great Derick Mildred, if I'm not wrong. So, Derick, to be very honest with you, quickly, before we run out of time, I still have got three questions, and let's, I'll wrap up the session after that. And these are important. And also, I've just pulled out the profile. Once you connect with him, he sends out a personalized message to you. That I've had the pleasure of knowing this person, Anthony. So anyhow, quickly moving on to the next question, which I have for you. Three questions which are very important, and every business person on LinkedIn who's trying to survive, who's trying to get business, faces these situations. Now, the question is based on how to avoid bans and recover fast. The question number one under this would be how to diagnose and fix a shadow ban in 7 days. 5 triggers plus five recovery protocols.
How to diagnose and fix a ban on LinkedIn within 7 days? Sorry, I can't hear you.
7 days or 7 days or any shadow ban is where we can see the profile and other persons would not be, our post would not be shared with other person with the LinkedIn program. Say LinkedIn will not share those posts to them. So how to know that we are being shadow banned? That
Contact
is going to
LinkedIn.
Okay.
Contact LinkedIn. Seriously, contact LinkedIn. That's a LinkedIn issue. That's got nothing to do with me.
Okay. And say how do we come to know? Say we keep posting and posting and posting, no reaction, no comments, so we get to know that we are being shadow banned.
First thing I would do is I would ask somebody to comment on your post, so that you see if everything's working correctly. All
No.
right. Send your link to a couple of people. Now, before you send your link to a couple of people and ask them to comment on my post, interact with their content. You got to give before you get. Okay. If I receive a message in my inbox from a complete stranger asking me if I can comment on their post, I just ignore it. And I do get those. In fact, my reaction to it's usually, who the hell are you? Right? Somebody I've never heard of before from the other side of the planet sends me a message. Can you comment on my post or whatever it might be? Give me a reason to. Right? And I can promise you, pretty much everybody thinks exactly the same way. All right. So give them a reason to interact with their content first, several times, then send them the link to your content or send them a message saying, would you mind if I sent you a link to some of my content that I thought might be of interest to you? And they'll tell you yes or no.
Fair enough.
Okay. Also understand that everybody in this day and age of computers and multiple screens and business and whatever it might be, everybody is time poor. Okay. So when you send them a message, don't send them a novel. Just a couple of sentences that highlight what you're talking about.
Now, this brings me to my days when I first contacted you. There were only 2 lines about David Alto introduced me to you.
You can do too little. If you just say, hi, Derick, then yes, I'll ignore those 2. I don't know who's teaching that, but it's not a strategy that I follow, put it that way. When somebody just sends you a message that says, hi, Derick, I think, give me a reason to need to talk to you. All right, give me a reason to need to reply to your message. Tell me what you want. All right, tell me what you're sending me a message about. Okay, you just send me a message that says, hi, Derick, I'll probably ignore it. Right? And I don't mean to sound harsh or rude or whatever you want to call me over that. I'm just being realistic. Right? If somebody rings you up on the phone and they say, hi, Derick, and then they don't say anything more, what are you going to do? You're going to hang up the phone. If you're really polite,
Exactly.
You might sit there patiently and say, you're going to say something? Okay. All right. So put the message out there, but do it short and quick. Don't beat around the bush. Don't send people a novel, but don't send them 2 words either.
Great answer to that question. Quickly moving to the next question, which is important. Now, what do you do with people who are not reacting, who are not, engaging with your content and things like that? People who you want to remove from your network. Now, the question is to Derick: how to purge 70% of your network to increase reach and engagement? Or, to be very honest, I wouldn't say 70%,
What?
but less or
How
more.
to purge 70% of your network to increase your reach and engagement?
Yes.
That doesn't make any sense to me. Why would you do that?
And
Why would I
the
go
main
from why would I go from 96,000 followers down to 30,000 followers to increase my reach and engagement? That doesn't make sense to me. Wouldn't do it. Why would I throw away
and
all
what you
that
have
work over all these years to build up that following because somebody's told me it's going to increase my reach and engagement? I don't follow that. I don't believe in that. I think that's rubbish.
and what do you have to say about the? Say if you want to remove some of the followers from your network, who are, who are not engaging, or there will be various reasons to remove people.
Okay,
But
here's one reason to remove followers. When I first started publishing my lists and following influencers and connecting to influencers on the platform and building up my own circle of influence, I noticed that there were some people who one year they might have 800,000 followers. The next year they might have 799,000 followers. And I wondered what was going on there. And then I realized, I thought about it and I thought, hang on, they have removed 1,000 people from their 30,000 connections which is why they dropped from 800,000 down to 799,000. They've removed 1,000 people from their 30,000 connections so that they can target another 1,000 people via Sales Navigator, prospects for their business. That's why some people remove connections, to give them room within the 30,000 first level connections that they can have to target more people who are prospects for them. Okay.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Thank you so much for that brief answer. Now, quickly, last and final, I wouldn't say question, but it's an advice. So, finally, Derek, if you could leave our audience with one message about growing and integrity and influence and purpose on LinkedIn, what would that message be?
Run that by me again.
The question is, any final advice for our audience to grow with integrity, influence, and purpose on LinkedIn?
Just be authentic. Don't try and shortcut the system. Don't try and be smart about it. Or when I say smart, don't try and be arrogant about it, I guess is what I'm saying. Don't try and shortcut the rules. Just be patient and authentic. Give people a reason to follow you. Give people a reason to connect with you. Give people a reason to have a conversation with you. And treat the platform as, yes, it's a networking tool. It's also a tool that you use to get the conversation started. Yes, it's a database, but treat the platform and everybody on it respectfully. It's a great platform. It's an amazing community. It's a very supportive community. But if you use it or utilize it the wrong way, then LinkedIn support will probably hit you with some restrictions.
Exactly. It will.
Yeah.
It will definitely do. Fortunate enough for me, not once in my life, I've got restricted or shadow banned on my LinkedIn profile. It's because LinkedIn loves me. that is that is not true. I'm just for a lighter moment. But that is because I follow the rules. Try to follow the rules. See, I always do, but you know. So never got shadow banned on LinkedIn. But anyways, so Derek, I wouldn't want to say I wouldn't want to close this conversation, but we have to respect the time and respect our audience as well. So, Derek, what a phenomenal conversation. You have given us wisdom that goes beyond algorithms. Us that LinkedIn is not just a platform, it's a place for purpose and people. On behalf of the Shaq Podcast family and everyone watching, thank you for joining us and making our first anniversary unforgettable. And quickly, Derek, if you quickly can explain about your business mini challenge, which I have taken and which I've enjoyed so much, and not only understood where my drawbacks and flaws were, but also have, improved myself so much that you see me as a new person today. So could you please give me a brief, introduction about the business
Sure.
mini challenge and how to?
Thank you, Shaq, and congratulations to you on your first year of podcasts and all the work that you've done and how far you've come. It's a credit to you just to see how much you've grown over the last year. Now, regarding my 5-day LinkedIn for Business mini challenge, there is a qualifying process involved. If people would like to know more about that, feel free to reach out to me and I can send you the details.
Awesome. And the best way to reach out to Derek is through his LinkedIn profile. His DMs are always open. And to our audience, remember this: success isn't built overnight. It's built through honesty, hard work, and heart. That's what drives us here at the Shaq Podcast. Keep believing, keep learning, and keep building your legacy, because your story, just like this one, deserves to be heard. This is Shaq signing off from the Shaq Podcast Anniversary Special and the legendary Derick Mildred. where greatness meets gratitude and conversation create change. Until next time, take care.